Hello, my name is Gareth. You're watching the Hub Online Network, and today this episode is bringing you the COVID updates for the week. So we're covering numbers from Monday to now, the deaths from Monday to now, vaccine numbers, totals, and just some overall new restrictions and things like that. So we might as well get to it. All right, so let's just get to the numbers first. So the numbers are, so it's Tuesday, so this is over the extended long weekend due to New Year's. There were 2,211 new cases. That's 2,211 new cases. The Fraser Valley saw the most COVID growth but in the interior over that time we saw 288 new cases. There were 46 new deaths over the province. On Wednesday, there were 412 new cases with 8 new deaths. From Wednesday to Thursday, 625 new cases with 8 new deaths. And as of today, there's been 617 new cases with 18 new deaths. That has added another 81 new cases to the interior specifically. To date, that we have had 46,259 people that have received a COVID-19 vaccine in British Columbia. The government says that our focus is to ensure we safely deliver the vaccine as quickly as possible to communities across the province using all available supply. Rural, remote, and at-risk First Nations communities have been prioritized to receive the vaccine as soon as possible because they are more vulnerable, have been disproportionately impacted by COVID-19, and because Indigenous elders carry irreplaceable language and culture. I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce the Indigenous group's name, but the First Nation in the Nanaimo area is currently experiencing a serious COVID-19 outbreak and is therefore considered an at-risk community. So there you go. So now I'm going to try something new here. Let me click on that and this and there. And we're going to go like so. No, I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, so now I'm sharing my screen. We're going to see how this goes for this thing. So what I'm doing is I just want to show you guys my sources here. So I'm just on the government of British Columbia's website, and we're going to just talk about restrictions. So by order and direction of the Provincial Health Officer, or the PHO, all events and social gatherings are suspended to significantly reduce COVID-19 transmission related to social interactions and travel. So this was updated as of today, and the current restrictions have been extended until at least February 5th. So the PHO order and province-wide restrictions. So by order and direction of the province health officer, all events and social gatherings are suspended to significantly reduce COVID-19 transmission. The order is in effect from November 19th, 2020 to midnight on February 5th, 2021. Events and social gatherings. So in-person events and community-based gatherings are defined in the PHO order and are suspended. For example, activities including indoor and outdoor events, with the exception of drive-in and drop-off events, which we'll get to, music or theater performances, galas, silent auctions, movie viewings, and cinemas. So those are things that are suspended in the area and across the province. You're making a face. Why?
Because you're reading this part of the screen, and that's where you are.
Oh my God.
I can do it. Keep going.
Stop. There we go. Let's try that. Okay. Event exemptions by sector. So, drive-ins and drop-off events. So drive-in events may proceed with a limited number of people. Drive-in events may have a maximum of 50 cars in attendance, and people must stay in their cars. Drive-in events must have COVID-19 safety plans in place. And drop-off events. Now, this is where I was a little bit confused, like what was a drop-off event? So drop-off events are things like fundraisers and toy drives. So people can still go somewhere and drop off money to, say, the Elizabeth Fry Society or Equality Project. But anything beyond that, they're asking you not to do. And in those places, you must maintain physical distancing, control the entry and exit points, and avoid congestion of cars and congregating of people. Now, other things that you can do for social gatherings, no social gatherings of any size at your residence with anyone other than your household or core bubble. For example, do not invite friends or extended family into your household. Do not host gatherings outdoors. Do not gather in your backyard. Do not have playdates for children. If you're a person that had Christmas with your family and such, I'd be interested to know, not to out anybody, but to understand the reasoning if you did that. It'd be really interesting as a reporter to know if people did that and why without knowing names. So if you are willing to send me an email, please give me a shout out at honjournalist@ashcrofthub.com, and we can go from there. Anyway, so do not have gatherings outdoors. Do not gather in your backyard. Do not have playdates for children. What a core bubble means. For most people, their core bubble is in their immediate household. An immediate household is a group of people who live in the same dwelling, for example. If you have a rental suite in your home, the suite is a separate household. If you live in an apartment or house with roommates, you are all members of the same household. For others, including people who live alone, their core bubble may also contain a partner, relative, friend, or co-parent who lives in a different household. This should be a maximum of 2 people outside of those living in your immediate household. Now, as for funerals, weddings, and baptisms may proceed where was I here? With a limited number of people and COVID-19 safety plans in place, you can have a maximum of 10 people attend, including the officiant. Review BC Centre for Disease Control for information and event planning. Now, all that being, so here are some allowed activities. I'm very sorry. Would you mind switching me out here?
All right. Where were we? So allowed activities. So these are activities that are allowed. Going for a walk. You must make sure that a walk or run doesn't turn into a group activity. And I did read some comments kind of for clarification. So you can meet a friend and go for a walk, but you can't stop and hang around and just simply have a conversation. So and same with running groups. You can meet, have your run, but then you must disperse and head back home again. And grandparents that are providing childcare would be within your bubble. We're still being asked to wear masks at pretty much all retailers or any store location, any business, and there are occupancy limits to that. I know most stores now are actually counting people coming in, counting people going out, and keeping a tally to make sure that they're not going over the required or their limits for store capacity. Public restaurants, pubs, and bars, 6 people per table. And again, that 6 people is your family. So you can't necessarily be you're not supposed to be having dinner with friends necessarily. But this, that doesn't say that there. So, okay. Fitness centers. Here at the Hub, we've chosen to cancel all fitness classes, but the actual only fitness classes that are canceled are those high-intensity fitness classes, so hot yoga, spin, aerobics, boot camps, where your fitness levels are higher. So regular yoga and some of the lower intensity fitness classes are still allowed to go. Those are not available right now at the Hub, but perhaps they are available where you are located. All adult group activities, including sports, are still canceled. There are no spectators allowed for youth sports still, but there are youth sports still happening, but there's not a lot of travel. It's just a lot of just training and skill processing. And then I will stop there, and Gareth will switch back.
Thank you. I'm sorry, everybody. My brother-in-law is now trapped in Kamloops, and my sister was giving me a call, so I will deal with that after I am done doing this. My apologies. Very unprofessional of me to leave this. Um, I'm not sure where Jessica was. Okay, so masks are required at many indoor public settings and all retail stores. This includes malls, shopping centers, grocery stores, airports, coffee shops, on public transportation, in a taxi or ride-sharing vehicle, places of worship, libraries, common areas of post-secondary institutions, office buildings, courthouses, hospitals, and hotels, clothing stores, liquor stores, drug stores, community centers, recreation centers, city halls, restaurants, pubs, and bars where not seated at a table, and sport or fitness facilities when not working out. So if you're thinking that you might be able to get away with not wearing a mask, that covers a fair range of places where you have to wear a mask. Mask enforcement: you are subject to a $230 fine if you do not wear a mask in an indoor public setting unless you are exempt. Refuse to comply with the direction of an enforcement officer, including the discretion to leave the space. Engage in abusive or belligerent behavior. Masks at workplaces and shared living areas. It is strongly recommended that masks be worn in the following areas: common areas in apartment buildings and condos, including elevators, hallways, lobbies, and stairwells. Shared indoor workspaces, including elevators, kitchens, hallways, and break rooms. Now, there was a travel advisory in place because there is another strain of COVID-19 going on in Europe. They did have a travel ban in place until the 6th of January, but now the current Canada ends ban on flights from the UK as coronavirus variant spreads. So Canada is ending its ban on flights from the United Kingdom as the new coronavirus variant continues to spread within the UK's borders. Transport Minister Mark Guinot confirmed the development during a Wednesday press conference. Quote, "The ban on UK flights, which was going until midnight on tonight, which was the 6th, will lapse. It will no longer be applicable," Guinot said. "We have made that decision based on the fact that we have now put in place, since that original ban, a pre-departure testing protocol, so that will replace the ban that existed for the UK, and it applies, of course, to all countries in the world from which flights may come to Canada." So if you were hoping to have people come in from the UK or hoping to go to the UK yourself, that is something that you are now able to do. So First Nations communities. Many First Nations communities have declared a state of emergency for their communities and enacted COVID-19 community protection bylaws, including travel bans for non-residents and non-essential visitors. It is important to respect these restrictions in addition to the provincial-wide travel advisory. Travel for mountain sports. Ski and snowboard at your local mountains. For example, if you live in Vancouver, you should ski at Cypress, Grouse, or Mount Seymour specifically. If you're in Mission or Agassiz, you should go to Hemlock. If you're in Kamloops, you should go to Sun Peaks is our place. And as for enforcement, so during a public health emergency under the Public Health Act, the PHO can make orders as needed. You must follow the orders. Some orders can be enforced by police or other compliance and enforcement officers. And people who don't follow these orders could be fined. So let's see if we can find out quickly what those fines are. Okay, so on party or bus limousine, subject to a $230 violation ticket if you are a passenger on a party bus or limousine as detailed on the public health officer's order. If you're at an event or gathering, you are subject to a $230 violation ticket. If you attend a non-compliant event or gathering, encourage other people to attend a gathering or event unless it has an exemption. If you refuse to comply with the direction of an enforcement officer, including the direction to leave or disperse from the event or gathering, engage in abusive or belligerent behavior in relation to the order. If you're at a restaurant, you can be subject to a $230 violation ticket if you consume alcohol at a licensed premise after 11 p.m. engage in abusive behavior towards a restaurant or a bar employee in relation to the public health officer's orders. Violation tickets for temporary prohibited or restricted business. A $2,300 violation ticket can also be issued to people who operate or retail businesses or episodic markets that is prohibited by the public health officer or subject to conditions. Other things that are included in this are party buses, limousines, perimeter seating vehicles, rental businesses, episodic markets. Individuals can receive a $230 ticket for being a passenger on a party bus or limo in violation of the applicable prohibitions. Violation tickets for owners, operators, and event organizers. So violation tickets of $2,300 can be issued to owners, operators, and event organizers who host an event or gathering, unless the event or gathering has an exemption. Violation tickets for food and liquor serving premises. Violation tickets of $2,300 can be issued to owners, operators, and event organizers. They are subject to a fine if a nightclub does not cease to operate as a nightclub. Background music or other background sound, such as from televisions, is louder than the volume of normal conversation. Liquor is served outside of hours of 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., even if the establishment provides a full meal service. If an establishment does not provide a full meal service, does not close by 11 p.m. with all patrons having vacated the premises. Liquor is consumed on premises by owners, operators, or staff after 11 p.m. How tickets are given out. Violation tickets can be issued by police officers, community safety units, liquor and cannabis inspectors, gaming investigators, conservation officers, and WorkSafe BZ investigators will assist through their existing authorities and tools. If violation tickets do not act as a deterrent or in case of particularly egregious contraventions or for repeat offenders, police can recommend charges in relation to the offense. On conviction, judicial penalties of up to $10,000 and or 1 year in prison may be imposed. Working with local governments. The provinces, we're also working with local governments to target individuals and businesses who fail to comply with public health orders. This may include revoking business or liquor licenses where issues occur. So that's just some of the, just as an FYI, some of the things that you can be ticketed for if you were so inclined to break the rules that are taking place during COVID-19. And that is essentially the thing today. However, there is one last thing that I would like to say, and that is there's a thank you note from the government of British Columbia. And they say, thank you to all the British Columbians who stayed local, celebrated virtually, and did your part to keep each other safe over the winter holidays. You made many sacrifices since the start of the pandemic, including up to the very last day of the last year. Let's keep going and make 2021 the year we overcome COVID-19. So if you have anything that you would like to say in regards to COVID-19 rules, regulations, tickets, etc., again, you can please email me at honjournalist@ashcrofthub.com. We would love to hear from you. Leave a comment, leave a like, leave a subscribe, tell your friends about us, and we will see you all next week. Have a good weekend. Stay safe, and we'll see you then.